I had a very powerful conversation with a player earlier this week, and I wanted to share this conversation with you who are listening. And this will be extremely valuable to you if you're a player, but also for agents, coaches, anyone who works with and around the football player. So, before I go into the conversation, I one of the things that I do in my work with players are that I help them solve problems, still solve problems. So if they're not performing to the best of their abilities because of fear, insecurity, lack of confidence, what else might be, well, I help them get that out of the way so they can be at the best. So that's one aspect of what I do. The other aspect is I speak to the potential of who they could be, right? So it looks like this. So I had a conversation with John, as I'll call him in this video. And John he aspires to play in La Liga at some point in his career. And I said to John, like, who would you need to be in order to play at La Liga at that level? Who would you need to be as a person? Because mindset wise, like he was doing well mindset wise. So I'm going into like taking a look at, okay, you want to reach that level. Who would you need to be to reach that level? And as I speak in this video, listen to it like it's about you. This has nothing to do with John. Listen to it from your perspective. I said to John, like, who would you need to be in order to play for La Liga, or at La Liga, at that level? And what do I mean by that? Well, I mean like we can create a character, a person who embodies who you need to be in order to play at that level. Right? We have this idea that, oh, I'm Espen and this is who I am, and I start to describe myself. But I'm describing myself with my own thinking, my own perception of me. We are creating all the time. And I said to him, like, okay, if you could create a character, who would that character need to be who can play at that level? And I elaborate on that. We are creating all the time. Unconsciously, most of us is creating all the time. We have this fixed idea often about who we are. But there's evidence for that we are not who we say we are, or who we think we are. If we take, and I said to him, like, if we took you, your mother, your father, your siblings, your coach, teammate, friends, and we all had them to describe you, everyone would see you in a different way. There will probably be similarities, but not everyone would see you in the exact same way. And the way they see you would also depend on their mood, their mindset they're in. If they're happy, they would describe you in a more positive way, probably. If they're sad, or frustrated, angry, they would describe you in a different way, more negatively. So that points to you are not solid. We all create, everyone around you creates you in a different way. And the way they create you affects their interaction with you, how they approach you, how they speak to you, how they show up. And he saw that, well, that's true, right? So I said to him, when we are no one, we can be everyone. or when we are nothing, we can become everything. So that gets into the creation. When we start to see, ah, the I can change. The way I see myself is created through thinking. So now we can start to play with, okay, so who would I need to be? So you take like an actor. A great example of this is acting, right? Um, so if you watch the Batman movies, for example, Christian Bale, they are, he plays Batman in a couple of Batman movies. And I assume that the way that actors, they, like the great actors at least, they prepare for a role is they really study the role. Like Christian Bale really studied Bruce Wayne and Batman. Who are they? How do they think? How do they see the world? How do they relate to themselves? How do they see themselves in relation to the environment, other people, etc.? So when Christian Bale steps on the stage, he's not Christian Bale. He's not Christian Bale playing Bruce Wayne. He is Bruce Wayne. Right? You see these actors that play all sorts of characters. They create, but Christian Bale created, or at some point someone created a character called Bruce Wayne. And that has evolved, that character. Well, Christian Bale was creating Batman in that movie, who he is, or Bruce Wayne. So, and he got what I was doing, he got what I was saying, and he said, "Oh, yeah, that reminds me of sometimes before training, I watch Vinicius Jr. YouTube videos, and it's kind of like I feel different, and when I step on the pitch, my performance is on another level. I play differently, and that's also a really great example of in that moment John is in a sense tapping into the energy of Vinicius Jr., who he is being when he is performing on the pitch. So his John's performance increases without his skills increasing, without he has trained his body, but because of the way he thinks, he suddenly plays with more confidence, freedom, joy, excitement. And I said, yeah, imagine like you take someone like Robert Lewandowski, who is like, to be able to play at that level for so many years, you have to be in a certain way. Like you're not the average Joe. I said, imagine if you could take Lewandowski's being, so not his meat suit, not his body, but his being, how he thinks, how he sees himself, how he sees the world, other people, etc., and put that into your own body. I would assume that your career would accelerate. Not because it's the same body you have now, but the way you think is so different. The way you relate to food, sleeping, and everything you do off the pitch, which also affects how great you perform on the pitch, will be affected by who you're being. So I wanted to bring this conversation to you guys. I hope it makes sense, because this is a very powerful conversation that I don't think many have. At least I haven't come across any players who've had this conversation yet. But it taps into it's a whole different game. And because so few have this conversation, the ones who have it, they have the advantage. Because they will see the power of creation. And it will, as I said, like, for me, this conversation is on a different level. So I hope this made sense. I hope you kind of can tap into the power of this. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out, because this is a conversation that I'm very passionate about. Thanks for listening and have a great day. Bye.